What's going on, everybody? It's the Hurry Up Offense Preview Week 10 edition. TJ Winger alongside JT Creed, Mason Cannon here to take you through all the fun. If you're new to the series, we're talking 5 games today. Thursday Night Football, Sunday 1 o'clock slate, 1 game from that. 1 4 o'clock game, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. And then we'll talk about our locks of the week. Been getting pretty hot of late, but want to introduce my co-host, JT Creed, Mason Cannon. JT, how's it going, man?
Going good. Still in the middle of the season, starting to get a little tighter. Division races are heating up. Getting ready for the playoffs, man.
And you also got college basketball back. Your heels starting out the year
Yes,
one.
sir, yes, sir.
Didn't cover that spread, but it's all good. It's all good. Excuse me, Mason, how are you been, man?
Good, man. Busy. But yeah, like you guys said, heating up. Divisional games starting soon. Excited for the playoffs starting up. As you mentioned, the locks. 2 of us have been on it. The other one, me being me, not so much. So
I gotta say, if we put together like the total odds of all of our bets, yours is by far and away the highest. I think I've given out a couple parlays. I think every one of these.
Yours have been
parlays
plus money. Yeah.
Yours is
maybe I steer clear of that.
Hey, I mean, when it hits, it's going to be glorious. So that's all I know. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start talking about some rhythm throws actually before we get into our 5-game preview. And, we'll talk about Frank Reich because one of the games we'll talk about is that Colts Raiders privilege that we get to watch at 4 o'clock on Sunday. And then, the other big news, Odell Beckham Jr. right now, because he 100% made the best financial decision for himself because he could have maybe re-signed with the Rams. That's what I would have thought he'd done if he signed at the end of the, regular season, postseason, whatever. But now, dude, the Cowboys are in. The Giants are interested. I think the Vikings make a lot of sense. There's a ton. The Packers, of course, are in play. I think they're a little too far out of it by now. The Bills, of course. So I kind of want to open it up to y'all and think and kind of just talk about best landing spots for OBJ. And I'll go last because I kind of want to play devil's advocate based off of what you guys say. So, JT, I'll start it up. I think the Vikings make a ton of sense. So tell me why you think the Vikings should be in play here, and then where do you think he ultimately ends up?
Yeah, Vikings. So for best case scenario for any team, to me, it's the Vikings. As far as the impact that he can make right away, to me, he becomes our instant number 2 on the outside. Move Thielen into the slot, just a better fit for Thielen. He's better at stacking leverage on the inside, working linebackers, stuff like that. He's okay on the outside, but I'd like to have a little bit more versatility on the outside. So best for the team. I don't think it's going to happen just because of lack of cap space. We freed some up. I think we could pay him around like 1.5, something like that. So it would be a play where OBJ would have to look at our team and be like, okay, this is a legitimate, shot at a Super Bowl. Otherwise, he's not coming. I don't think it's really going to happen. Best spot landing wise for him to me is the Cowboys. Just because the Packers are kind of out of it. The Bills, I could see him go to the Bills. I don't hate that move either. Probably more likely to win a Super Bowl with the Bills, in my opinion. But for the Cowboys, it's more of like an instant star role I could see him filling. Whereas the Bills, he'd still be the 3rd option. And I don't know that he wants to go in and be a 3rd option.
He'd probably be the 2. Yeah. He probably had the leg up on Gabe Davis, but
I don't know. I like Gabe Davis. I'm a big Gabe Davis guy, so I like him. So I could see him still being a 3 or 2. I mean, it's not really that big a deal. I could just see, to me, I think best for him would be the Cowboys.
Well, also part of that is like playing in a dome in Texas or playing in Buffalo. Like,
playing in Buffalo. Yeah, he's going from LA to Buffalo. That's tough.
Yeah, so weather could certainly dictate that decision. Mason, where do you think the best spot for OBJ to go is?
Dude, no idea. I'm gonna be honest. But no, I like both of y'all's points. I like JT's points. Like the Vikings makes a lot of sense, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna happen. I thought he was gonna go back to the Rams for the longest time, but that's probably out the window now.
Yeah, them and the Packers feel like they played their way out of it. Yeah.
So I would say Vikings or Cowboys for sure.
But Packers would have been awesome. They're just not in the race anymore.
Yeah. It sounds like he wants a multi-year contract, which I think is another interesting element. So let me get on my crackpot theory here. Because, I think the Vikings make a ton of sense. They're 7-1. They've got that division locked up. They have time.
Multi-year, too, makes sense for us, too, because we need, I don't know. To me, I think.
Because Thielen, right? I think that timetable works. And then the Bills are looking to be Super Bowl contenders for the next 5 years, at least. So that makes sense, too. The Cowboys have that same goal in mind. And we know they were interested in Brandon Cooks. So why not go get another vertical, field stretcher in Odell Beckham Jr. All right, here we go. This is fun. New Orleans Saints. So he just basically sits out the rest of this year. Him and Michael Thomas are out. He goes to New Orleans, just like Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry have already gone back to their old stomping grounds at LSU. And then, I don't know how Mickey Loomis is going to do this, but the bastard finds a way every time. Green Bay trades Aaron Rodgers to New Orleans. And we already know Rodgers, OBJ, there's some mutual respect there. I don't know how the cap plays out, but Rodgers would go from Green Bay to Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Alvin Kamara, and they'd maybe be the best team in the NFC. So let me hear y'all's reaction to that. I mean, I don't think it's highly likely, but let's say OBJ's like, hey, I'll just sit out this year. Just pay me whatever. The real money kicks in next year. And then they go make a play for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, yeah, if any team goes and make a play for Aaron Rodgers, I don't know. Sure. That's tough. I mean, I can see it, but I mean, long shot. It would have to be like the perfect offseason, but it'd be insane if it happened.
That's fair. Well, I didn't expect the Chargers to land J.C. Jackson, Khalil Mack, and make all the re-sign Mike White. So I'm not going to rule it out.
How are they doing? That's not the same.
Hey, well, on paper, those moves made a ton of sense.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers in and of itself will be interesting to watch this offseason. I think that's such a wild card. We couldn't tell, going into week.
I hope he leaves for the sake of his career.
After just retires?
No, leaves the team.
It's either he's retiring or he's gone. I cannot see a world where he's back.
Just absolute abuse from the front office. Like, I just cannot believe it, dude.
Yeah, the only reason he's staying is because Brian Gutekunst locks him in his basement or something like that, in which, I think Washington, the Raiders may be in play. Also Tom Brady, is he going to play next year? He's got this divorce with Giselle. I don't know, man. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks, kind of in the play. But anyways, I kind of like that OBJ goes home, does what Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry did, and then unites with Aaron Rodgers, who has a ton of respect for. But anyway, that's my crackpot theory. Tell me what you guys think down below in the comment section. Anyways, let's jump into our 5-game preview, kicking things off with Thursday Night Football. And spoiler, I'm going to be going to the movie theaters instead of watching this game. So sorry, but it's the Atlanta Falcons laying 2.5 points against the Carolina Panthers. These two teams played like 2 weeks ago, so not far removed from that previous matchup, but I'll throw it to y'all to start. JT, what do you see in this matchup between Cardinals, Panthers? Falcons took game 1 and that weird overtime matchup. Do you think they make it a sweep?
Yeah, I think they sweep them. I don't love the game kind of sucks to watch. It's like this is like your stereotypical Thursday night drag. That just is no fun to watch. But I mean, neither team really has a great upside. It's kind of a boring game. I think I'd take the Falcons just for the simple fact they played 11 days ago, or 11 days ago by the time they play. It would have been literally 11 days. That's insane. They played twice in 11 days. And they won in overtime by 3. Only went to overtime because that crazy DJ Moore Hail Mary, essentially. So it's kind of like they would have already beat them by 7. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like 2.5. They pretty much already beat them by 7 the first time. They would have covered last time too. It's at the Panthers, so if you believe in a big home field advantage, to me, I'm just not really. There's a few situations and a few spots that I like to, think home field plays. But as far as these teams go, I don't think it makes a big difference. So I lean Falcons. I'll probably watch it just because, I don't know, I like football. But I'll probably go Falcons -2.5, maybe push it up a little bit to get some extra value out of it. But I might just do like a first touchdown score to just have something a little more fun than watching this game.
Damn right you will.
Just to feel something.
I love it. Yeah, just to feel something, man.
Well, Mason, now I'll throw it to you, man. Did you watch that Panthers-Bengals game? Because P.J. Walker is going to be starting Thursday, and that might have been the worst half of football I've seen any quarterback play this year. It was rough. Now, granted, he also has had some big moments and some big plays this year, but let me hear your thoughts. Falcons-Panthers.
Right, dude. I thought P.J. Walker was like going to be the man moving forward, but then, like you said, dude, oh my God. They had to bring in Baker Mayfield of all people. But yeah, I think I like the Falcons. Like you guys said, they just played. And I watched that first matchup between the two. I think I napped. It was so boring, and then I woke up and the game was still on, and it was in overtime, and I was just like, can this game just be over? But I think the Falcons run the table pretty well. I think they win by easily more than 3, in my opinion. But with that being said, they're not going to win by more than 3 because if I'm taking it, it's not going to hit. But yeah,
reverse psychology.
I'm going to go Falcons.
Well, and I'm taking the Falcons here too. Carolina last week, it was kind of weird. One of the better run defenses in the league. And then Joe Mixon just says, yeah, right. I'm just score 5 times. 4 on the ground, 1 through the air. I mean, bonkers performance, and one that just didn't make sense because the Bengals have struggled running the ball so much. The Panthers have been so good at defending it. Doesn't really make sense, but that's the NFL for you. I think one of the other things to keep an eye on here is that Panthers-Falcons game was the last game coached by Matt Rule. So, I don't really think an interim head coach moves the needle a whole lot, but maybe this team's galvanized. Maybe they at least have a guy at the front of the room that they're willing to make a tackle for. I don't know. Maybe that plays a part of it as well. But I think that's kind of an interesting component. I just think the Falcons are just by far and away right now a little bit of a better team. And also, I think the Falcons are a fun story. If they win, they get back to 500. They're kind of this team that's kind of hitting their stride as a young group. Carolina, they should want to lose this game, right? Like they should be wanting to be in that Bryce Young, CJ Stroud running at the top of the NFL draft. So to me, it just almost makes sense. If the Falcons get a win, cool, you keep being a good story. Falcon and the Panthers lose, you get a good draft pick. What's up?
Yeah, the total for the first game, the final score is 37-34. And the total here, 42.5. What are we talking about? So like 71 was the total last game. That might be a play the over,
Yeah, 100%.
Or an absolute tank regression to the mean, and the game ends, 13-6 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's tough. That's just crazy to me. That's I don't know. I just had to look it up because I was like, I know it was a pretty high scoring game, and I saw the over under at 42.5. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's basically going to be any number other than 42/43. It's going to be one extreme or the other. I totally agree. I don't know the weather on Thursday night in Carolina, so I had to look that up. That could be a component.
Chilly.
Chilly, yeah, probably.
I know that hurricane's coming in too, so it might be raining. Honestly,
there you go. That could be a part of it as well.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know though.
Well, also let me get y'all's take on this real quick. I'm a big draft geek. That's a big component of what I do on the channel. Did you guys hear the reports of the packages they turned down for DJ Moore and Brian Burns? Basically, it was
Brian Burns they turned down like a haul for
2 ones and a second from the Rams. So a second rounder this year from the Rams, which would have been a top 40 to 50 pick.
Just
first
weird.
rounder next year, I mean 2024 that is, and 2025, which looks might be a top 10 to 15 pick.
I mean, Brian Burns is nice, but like
he's nice, but
we're talking like you can build a roster off that.
Yeah.
Right. So then on top of that, the Packers offered a first, apparently. The Packers, all those reports that came out on Sunday, like, oh, they were they were in on Waller, they were in on Moore. That to me sounds like a student who's like, you're talking to them, you're like, hey, why'd you fail that test? Yeah. Oh, well, I studied. I gave it my best. And it's like, okay. That's not to say some people have legitimate test taking issues. That's fine. But this feels like a similar situation where it's like, we tried, whatever. But DJ Moore, if they did get a first round pick, you'd be talking about the Panthers having 3 first round picks each of the next 3 years from the Packers, Rams, and then Rams again, which the way it looks, again, might be top half the first round type of picks and that second rounder from the Rams. So just curious to see if y'all heard about that. But yeah, Scott Fitterer must be on one hell of a hot seat if he's not taking those picks. Because if I'm a GM, give me that ammunition, man. Like, let's go. Anyways, I could talk about that all day. Let's move on to our 1:00 game now. Vikings and Bills. And what a fun one this could potentially end up being. Of course, this all comes down to Josh Allen. Like, is Josh Allen playing in this game or not? Because if he's not, then it's Kirk Cousins against Case Keenum, which, Case Keenum's nice. That's a big QB.
Yeah.
So Keenum's nice.
But if it's Josh Allen, even at less than 100%, you give the edge there to the Bills. But then this game becomes really interesting, especially if he's not 100%. Like, can we get more turnover-worthy Josh Allen? I don't want to see that personally. But I think I'm going to take the Bills because I do think Allen plays. But Mason, let me hear your thoughts. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I think if Josh Allen plays, then he's 95%. I don't think they're going to bring him in and risk, further injury if he's not okay. I think if he's not good to play, they just won't roll him out there. So then if he's not playing, I like the Vikings. But if Josh Allen is playing, I think I'm going to hammer the Bills. Like, coming off that loss, I just think they destroy the Vikings. No offense, JT. Even though the Vikings might cover that first quarter spread, I don't know. I'm just going to hammer the Bills. I'll just have to wait and see if he's playing or not. But yeah, so I'm kind of iffy. Just got to wait and see what happens.
Well, let me toss it over to JT now, our resident Vikings fans. But also, if you're going to get this game, I would bet it right now, Vikings plus 4.5 or whatever it's at, because if he doesn't play, you're going to be laying points at that point. So try to jump on it now, maybe, if you feel like Allen doesn't play. But let me hear your thoughts, JT.
Yeah, I don't know if Allen plays. I don't know. I'm just kind of blown because, as a Vikings fan, I'm waiting for a measuring stick game. But, it's tough when you only face the, bottom quartile of the league. and then you face the Eagles and the Bills. Like, can we just face like, I don't know, like a middling team or like a
You'll have
decent
Dallas next week. I think Dallas is a good
Yeah,
barometer
Dallas,
for y'all.
that'll be a good measuring stick for us. But I'm like, dude, we either got to face like the elite or we face the trash. And I'm like, come on, dude. I'm trying to see where this team's at because it's hard to get a read right now on the
Maybe y'all are
Vikings.
elite. Maybe you guys are elite.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, we're good. We're solid. But yeah, if Josh Allen plays, man, 4 points is not enough coming off a loss. He's gonna. There's no way they lose, or there's no way they beat us by less than 4. If he's coming off a loss. I don't know, the UCL injury for a quarterback, that's tough.
Yeah.
He also has a very violent throwing motion, just like in my opinion, he's a very violent throwing motion. It makes sense that he would have a UCL kind of issue, to be honest. And I don't know. I mean, UCL, like when you're feeling that, just coming from a baseball background, like it doesn't go away. It's just nagging. It's going to be the entire game. It's just like, I don't know if you're running with like turf toe or something, like you feel it every single throw. It's kind of I don't know. It's a weird spot. I don't know if he plays or not, to be honest. It's kind of a weird spot. I don't know if I'd bet. If he's playing, my favorite play actually, though, if he's playing is the over at 44. I just think that's not enough. I think we can match them pretty well offensively. I think we lose by like 10 or so if Josh Allen plays. But that over is going to be blown out the water at 44.
And honestly, that might be your way to bet both sides of this coin, right? Like if you don't think Allen plays, you bet the Vikings now because it's the best thing you're going to get. Keep in mind, this opened up at 7.5. Now it's 4. But if you think he plays, then bet the over. And now, granted, if you bet on both of those, there's probably not a way you're going to be able to get all your money back because you're talking about minus 110 on both. But maybe same game parlay it up, and you could get something kind of spicy there. Just an option that I might, kind of.
I just like the over because I think the over can hit even if Keenum plays.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair. Well, I think I'm going to take the Bills. Mason, you mentioned my main talking point here. It's not even like, an on-field thing. It's just an emotional aspect. The Bills are too good of a team to lose 2 games in a row. Like, this is a team that loses 3 games in a year, let alone 2 in a row. So from that standpoint, it's really easy to kind of lean on the Bills here. I know they're going to be pissed. And also, like, you look at Josh Allen, like 5 or 6 interceptions over the last 3 weeks. A defensive-minded head coach is going to talk to him, and that's exactly what Sean McDermott is. He's going to be like, hey, you're an alien, but I'm going to need you to dial it back a bit so my defense isn't on the field all the time. So I think that plays into it as well. And last week you see Josh Allen against Sauce Gardner and, DJ Reed, who there may not be the names you would pick out, but they've been the best cornerback tandem in the league this year. This is a fun case study for Pat Pete, Cam Dantzler, guys who have graded out pretty well for PFF. And I think, that Arizona game, Pat Pete low-key turned back the clock. Cam Dantzler's been a really nice piece. And as long as Cam Bynum doesn't find a referee, he's been pretty solid this year. This could be, again, measuring stick. I think that's a great phrase. How good is this Vikings secondary? Because it's either going to be torn up or it's going to hold its own. And if you're a Vikings fan, if that secondary holds its own, you have to be optimistic moving forward.
Yeah, they've been trending up since first week, to be honest. Every week they get better. It looks a lot more solid. You don't see the big plays as much anymore, aside from the ref taking out our safety. Even that play, we've got 3 guys back there. That ball's a pick. Yeah. So aside from that play kind of being fluky, like there really aren't big plays that we're giving up. So
no, granted, that's Taylor Heineke. So I hope you're not giving up big plays to the man himself.
Well, we kind of did.
Nice.
He's get out of here. But even on the broadcast, that play, Mark Schlereth, the color commentator, was saying that Heineke threw it into a Vikings team meeting. How is that not? How is the NFL? How is that not a rule in place where, like, if a referee can interfere that much? It was a team meeting. The color commentator said it himself. That was destined to be a pick. Minimum, if Cam Bynum doesn't put his hands up, it goes off his helmet. It's a PBU. Minimum. Yeah. How is that not a replay you're down? Sorry, that's just one thing. The more I think about it, the more pissed I get that that's not in place. But anyways, I'll get off that tangent. Let's talk about our 4:00 game. And I said it was a privilege earlier, and that it is. So we have the Colts heading out to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Hey, we've been a pretty friendly Raiders show. If you're a Vegas fan, take solace. We're your sanctuary. We have been pretty high on the Raiders this year. Unfortunately, Josh McDaniels is just an absolute bum, and I don't think he makes it past this year. I gave you all a ton of stats just talking shit about McDaniels earlier this week, about 3 blown leads of 17 plus more points. The rest of the league has 2. The Raiders coming into this year had 5 of those in franchise history. Insane. But how about this? He starts his coaching career 6-0 with the Broncos. Gets caught stealing practice film. After that, he's gone 7-22. I mean, I'm sorry. I wanted to like him, but he's kind of a fraud. I just can't see it any other way. Mason, we'll throw it over to you. What do you think about your former Patriots OC? And where do you stand on this one? Because, as much as I'm talking shit about Josh McDaniels, he still got his job. That's more than Frank Reich can say. Now, granted, I think Frank Reich's going to be okay, but Jeff Saturday? That's thinking outside the box. And, give me your quick thoughts on this one here.
Yeah, I'll be quick for sure. Yeah, I didn't understand that move either. But, dude, I'm so done with the Raiders, man. I can't do it. I'm definitely not betting this game at all because both teams are just so unattractive as a betting perspective. But my God, dude, I don't know.
And
yeah, he's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah, and the Raiders are laying 6. You're saying you're done with the Raiders. This is not even a pick 'em. We're talking about 6 points here that they have to lay here. JT, what do you think of this one? I mean, are you even touching this one? I don't know if I can bet this one, but I am definitely going to be watching it just for the entertainment value.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. 6 points is tough. I want to lean, like, I'd want to bet Raiders, but when I saw 6, I'm like, ooh, that's tough. I don't know. If it was at like,
you're going to blow the lead.
If it was at 3, I'd take it. 6 is tough, though. Especially the Raiders' run defense is just not it. Like, they miss tackle after tackle after tackle. And the Colts are, they're going to be running the ball. So to me, it's a bad matchup for the Raiders in general. I don't know. It's more the off the field stuff that's more interesting than on the field for this matchup. It's like, I mean, Jeff Saturday hiring outside of a current locker room on week 10. That's absurd. And like, I've even heard,
not even a college coach either. Like,
yeah. And like certain broadcasters or certain like commentators, whatever you want to call them, have been like, yeah, that's just like embarrassing for the league. Like that this is even like allowed. It is kind of embarrassing to me. It is. The
fact that their play callers,
like they have former like legends on their current coaching staff,
right?
And they hired outside of it. It is insane. For someone with no experience, it's just wild. But yeah, so that, and then you have on the other side the Raiders. Derek Carr basically saying, "My coach is terrible, but I can't say that. We're going to handle it in-house." Like he basically said that in the media. Like coverage after the game, and it's just more of the off the field stuff that's interesting. I kind of want the Raiders to lose so that Josh McDaniels doesn't make it out of the season. You know what I mean? I'm with you. If you lose to Jeff Saturday, like he's gone by the weekend, right? Like or by next week, he's got to be gone.
Losing to Jeff Saturday has got to be on par with getting a.
That's what I'm saying. Like
it's got to be.
Hope that happens.
100%, no doubt. Right. Well, I'm with you. I think the Raiders win, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
So the only way I'm going to take the Raiders is my lock of the week this week is a teaser. You could take them basically down to a pick 'em, and they're at home. They've got to win this game. And
there's no way they lose.
It's Jeff Saturday and first-time play callers on both sides of the ball. I don't know about that. And even just from a talent perspective, Sam Ehlinger versus, even on a down year, Derek Carr. Come on now. And
Derek Carr is not the problem. If you watch their games, he's not the problem.
I mean, he looked fine in that first quarter when Devontae Adams got 128 yards and 2 tuds in the first half. Like, looked good then. All of a sudden, that kind of dissipates. Yeah, no, I think it's coaching. I'm right there with you. So, yeah, this is kind of this was one game where like last week I didn't want to talk about the Rams and the Bucks because it's like 2 shitty teams, but this time it's like a sitcom almost. Like I want to see the humor that comes out of this game. This is going to put Twitter. People are going to be asking about the apps free. Elon Musk is going to watch this game, and it's going to be like $5 a month for Twitter, just off the content we get out of this. But anyways, yeah, I think the Raiders is a teaser leg. That's the move. But 6, Sam Ehlinger is bad, but I don't know. That defense isn't too terrible in Indianapolis. So we'll see. Let's move on to our Sunday night game. Chargers in San Francisco, and the Chargers laying 7 points. Hey, it was a sweat last week in Atlanta. One of the plays I liked, Falcons by 3.5 points. That hit, so shout out to them. And then the 49ers coming off a bye week. So, JT, let me start with you. You're not a big coaching matters guy, but I know you like Shanahan. And I know the bye week isn't something you always bake heavily into your equation, but when that bye week comes just before game 3 for Christian McCaffrey, do you think that adds anything to this one?
Yeah, I mean, Swiss Army knife, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's a big difference. It depends. Like I don't believe in coaching as far as like drastic impact unless it's like a few coaches. Shanahan, to me, I think he's probably the best coach, in my opinion, in the NFL when it comes to X's and O's, and putting people in the right position to like flourish. So that being said, 7 points is a lot. I don't think I would take the 49ers -7 here. To me, the Chargers are just too talented. I don't know. 7 points against the Chargers. I don't know if I'd take anybody at 7 points against the Chargers. Even the Chiefs, I probably wouldn't bet it. It's not that I think they're going to cover, or I'm not going to play Chargers +7 per se, but I'm not playing 49ers -7, just given the talent on the Chargers team. Even though the Chargers have been, drastically underperforming all season. I don't know. It's just not something I'm comfortable putting money on, but I think the 49ers win the game, though, kind of like we were saying, coming off a bye, Shanahan, more packages to include McCaffrey in. Yeah.
Plus, it's a defense that's been kind of banged up. Nick Bosa's been dealing with things here and there. So, obviously, the bye week kind of comes at a nice point there.
Chargers still, definitely banged up, too. So, I could definitely see, the lean on the 49ers.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is another good teaser leg. And if you think San Francisco wins, 1 point, nothing to lay, like you could pair that up with something that's hot. I don't know. The reason I didn't put that in my lock of the week, despite I do like it, the Chargers can just be weird. Like they're one of those teams that kind of play down to competition, but also play up to it. So I could see them kind of getting sneaky, and then it comes down to one play late, and the Chargers get that lucky bounce or whatever. So I could see that being something that kind of cost me here. But when talking about, Nick Bosa in specific, there was a reason I mentioned him, hopefully getting closer and closer 100%. This offensive line without Rashawn Slater, especially the tackle spot, is rough. And Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, how many, I think we've asked this every week of the season, are those guys playing? Monitor the injury report. If they're gone, and again, it's another week where Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter are the guys, I think I might push this one out to like 13.5, like borderline Sunday Night Football territory. If those guys aren't playing, yeah, sure. I just like the value at that point. Sure, it's worth the roll of the dice. But dude, with no Slater, if those wide receivers are out, it's gonna be rough. And this is also a game where Austin Eckler's a stud, but Fred Warner, like if there's a guy who can match his athleticism coming out of the backfield, I think that's the guy. So kind of giving some of my thoughts. Mason, you're the last to speak on this one. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I was reading the game notes while you guys were talking, but I was still listening. But this 49ers defense, the way they generate pressure on the QB, it's kind of similar to the Denver defense when they still had Bradley Chubb. And when the Chargers played the Broncos a couple weeks ago, I remember you guys were on the Chargers. I said I was on the Chargers, but I ended up, switching to the Broncos because I saw a TikTok or something about the pressure and it's not going to be good for Herbert. So I'm kind of thinking along those lines. I'm thinking Herbert struggles again. So I kind of like the under 45.5. Because I mean, then again, like you said, they don't have a lot of receivers. They still got Josh Palmer, the other guy you said exactly, he's irrelevant. So I just don't see a lot of points being scored. But I don't know, 7. I'm not sure if I'll touch that spread, but I think I lean under.
Okay, I like that. Hey, and DeAndre Carter, I picked him up in 2 fantasy leagues.
DeAndre Carter,
responsible why I won one of them at least. So don't talk too much smack with my man's name. So, but anyway.
I just couldn't think of his name. Yeah.
No. I'm just messing with you. But anyways, so JT, it looked like maybe it was just your camera there, but I said something. I saw a look in your face, and I always got that sense of when I say something that you have a disagreement with, I can feel it. So
on which piece? No. I didn't have anything.
Okay. I'm just
nothing too crazy.
So are we all on the 49ers here? In theory, at least if we're talking straight pick 'em, are we all with San Francisco here?
To win, I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about 7.
Yeah. I think it kind of takes a little, again, it takes that lucky bounce. This is also.
I think maybe we're buying too much. If you're on the Chargers here, I think you're buying too much into Herbert. Yeah. If you just look on paper, roster to roster, it's not close. Just the health of the roster versus the health of the other roster, it's just not close. So I think betting, without your heart in it and your heart with the quarterback, you should go 49ers. And 7 points might not even be enough, kind of like what you're saying.
And Brandon Staley's talking about, they've had to play a little bit more conservative with him over the last couple of weeks because of the injury. I'm like, dog, this looks pretty much the same the offense has always had, going back to last season since Joe Lombardi's been the OC. And I just don't think this is a game where, especially against that 49ers defense, you'll be able to dink and dunk your way down the field. With that pass rush, they're going to win. And it takes 1 sack to end a drive. I think this is one where if LA wants a shot, Herbert's arm strength's got to be on display. They've got to be able to flip the field. They've got to be able to get big plays and, be able to score in 2 plays, take away that pass rush a little bit. But that's just the way I see it. Let's go ahead and talk Monday Night Football and another privilege here. Washington heading to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, and the Eagles double-digit point favorites. This game could be fun to watch, but, Heineke after the first quarter, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to deal with it for more than 15 minutes. But Mason, let me start with you. Let me hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, man. Monday night. Divisional game. I'm definitely taking the Eagles here. I'm not sure if I like the 10.5 though. But I do like your first half spread at 6.5. I bit my tongue last week when they played the Texans. They didn't cover the first half spread there. They definitely should have, but the Texans scored on the opening drive. But yeah, I think Philly is just too much for Washington here. Like you said, it just comes down to Jalen Hurts versus Taylor Heineke, and it's not close at all. I'm sorry, I'm taking over your points, but I've got really nothing much else to say. I just don't think Washington is good at all. But yeah, I'll be simple.
JT, what do you think with this one?
Yeah, Washington's bad. They shouldn't have been. I mean, we've talked about the big play that they scored a touchdown on. Aside from that, dude, they really didn't score against the Vikings defense, and the Vikings defense isn't all that good. Eagles substantially better on defense, especially at pretty much every position on the field. Aside from, I don't know, I think our DNs are pretty solid in Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter, but aside from that, the Eagles can match us in pretty much every position, if not better on defense. Commanders struggle on offense this game. Eagles should blow them out of the water, but I could see them kind of coming out a little sluggish. I don't know, just kind of not really worried about it, just trying to get through the game, go on to a better opponent next week. I think the betting play is a teaser with the Eagles and the over, in my opinion. I think the Eagles do enough to cover their fair share, and the Commanders, I don't know, pull off some backdoor, I don't know, touchdown with like 2 minutes left or something like that to hit the over.
Cover a double digit. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. We know how the game should go. Eagles are legit, no question about it. Commanders suck, no question about it. So yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, and if you go with that teaser route, that would be Philly by 4.5 over 38, which 38. Yeah. I think the Eagles could easily put up 30 in this game, and that gets you most of the way there. So I feel like Philadelphia, for that to hit, will have to do most of your legwork, but I totally see that being something that's possible. So yeah, same thing y'all said, man. This game this feels like a stinker of a Monday night. I mean, who knows? Because division games can be weird. Philadelphia won a couple weeks back, but since this game's in Philly, I don't know. I just can't see the Eagles laying that big of an egg at home. And I was just telling you about this, and one of my favorite plays last week, and one of my misses last week was Eagles minus 7.5 in the first half. But I know a lot of people who that bet missed and then did the same bet in the second half and it hit. So if something weird happens and it's like Washington has it 10-10 at half, I'm going to stick with it. I think my favorite bet from this game, like you said, Mason's that 6.5 line in the first half. Philadelphia typically has started out hot. Houston gave them a couple of weird, just gave them a little bit of a fit last week. If that happens again, I'll lay down the second half bet, and then I should be pretty good to go. Even the strengths Washington has in a pass rush team, Philadelphia's got one of the best offensive line in the league. So even where Washington's pretty strong, I feel like Philadelphia is just as strong, if not at least compatible, and it's competition there. So yeah, I'm with you on the Eagles, and I guess they improve to 9-0 if this happens. Eagles fans, sorry, I'll knock on wood for that one. But real quick, let me just ask y'all, how long do you think this undefeated streak lasts?
Ooh, I'd have to look at the rest of their schedule, man. I don't know. The Eagles are, I mean, they're like, to me, legit, like undefeated team. To me, they're the best team in the NFL. I would say them and the Chiefs are the two closest for me, and I think the Bills are just under them. But I don't know, man. The Eagles are legit. So
I mean, that's how my power rankings were. I had Chiefs 1, Eagles 2, Bills 3. Let me just ask you real quick, and then I'll ask you, Mason. If the Super Bowl were today, neutral field, Chiefs, Eagles, what would the spread be? I'd go Chiefs minus 1.5.
I was thinking 2.5.
2.5?
I was gonna say 3.5, so it's kind of funny.
3.5. There you go. So I guess
I think the Chiefs are favored just on the Mahomes experience. I think all the money, a lot of the public money, would be all over the Chiefs just because it's Mahomes thing. So I would go 3.5.
Sure, Mason. Sorry, I cut you off there. What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know.
Oh no, it's all good.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Well, that basically
schedule. The Eagles' schedule is so bad.
Yeah.
They could. I mean, there's
that Dallas game on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Dallas game.
Dallas on Christmas Eve.
That's the only game. That's like the only game that you're like, oh, maybe. I mean, the Giants. I could see him splitting with the Giants just because of the coaching and kind of they play a solid game.
Who else do they have? Do you want to read the schedule real quick?
Commanders, Colts, Packers, Titans, Giants, Bears, Cowboys, Saints, Giants.
Wow.
So it's like one of the divisional games that worries you the most. Maybe the
Yeah.
Saints, but by then you're what, 16-0? So whatever.
I'll say if Tannehill's back for the Titans, I could see him pulling one
Maybe.
out.
Yeah.
On just like a grinder game where
They gave up
he
a
was
ton
just
of
gonna
yards to
get going.
Dameon Pierce. Maybe Derrick
Right.
Henry gives them some troubles. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I think that's one you could see a letdown spot there. But I mean,
Sure.
these are all like I have to pitch you on it.
I have to conjure up a theory for what went
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
You have
Versus
to
the
pick your
Steelers.
own game plan.
Versus the Steelers 2 years ago, it's like, all right, this should be the week, right? Like this is, it just makes much sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, long tangent aside, that's gonna do it for our 5-game preview. Now it is time for our locks of the week segment. This is just when we, return the favor. You all stop, watch this video. Which, hey, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, help me out a ton. When you're around here, hit that big red subscribe button as well. But now we return the favor back to you and make you some bread. So our quest to obtain the grain is now underway. I'll kick things off. Not a whole lot of plays I love, but I'm gonna go with a teaser. Or actually, I'm gonna go with an alt spread play here. Basically, it's Giants money line and then Seattle +9. That works out to -104. So I don't think Tampa's in a spot to blow anybody out, especially against a good Seattle team. Game's in Germany, so it could be weird. And then Giants at home against Houston. I'll take their money line again. That's -104. JT, on to you.
Yeah, my lock is going to be a teaser as well. It's going to be Packers and Cowboys game. We're going to push the Packers up to +11 and the under 49.
Setting yourself up for disappointment. Keep betting on the Packers.
Well, hey, +11. I like that number. I could see him winning outright. I'll probably play that. To be honest, I'll play the money line. I don't know. I just because I don't know. Rodgers isn't going to lose but so many games. He'll pull one out.
We'll see. No Romeo Dobbs. I'm not feeling great about this wideouts. Anyways, Mason, take us home.
Yeah, man. I think my locks are 1 and 9 on the year. So this
I do like 2 and 6. Whatever the graphics are. I think it's 6 and 6.
I should go with a straight bet or a teaser, but I can't do that. So I'm gonna go with a 3-teamer. All right, hear me out. Raiders over the Colts, right? No way they win.
I'm with you. Okay.
I said I was done with them, but
Here for that.
Raiders over the Colts, Niners over the Chargers,
Okay.
and Chiefs over the Jags. I don't care if it's square, I'm putting it in there. So
Okay. No.
plus 132. So
The
Chiefs
plus money.
Jags is 9.5. I like the Chiefs 9.5.
oh, I'm just going money line, dude.
Hey,
He's just-
3-teamer.
Hey, and it's plus 132 again, Mason.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
good.
Hey, plus odds, boy.
Exactly.
Every week, this man comes with the money on the table. Let's go.
Sure.
He's on fire. Let's go. So, anyways, also I did want to just note out records are a little different just because JT pitched 2 last week. He went 1-1, and I only pitched 1. But I've had multiple weeks where I pitched more than 1, just in case somebody was curious. And then we missed a week with Mason and JT as well. So anyways, that's our locks of the week. Any other honorable mentions you guys want to toss out? I think, other legs could apply to some of the games we talked about. 49ers down to just a point, maybe taking Philadelphia down to -4.5. So other plays maybe.
At time of recording, Bills Vikings has moved to 3.5. I think that game, whatever, do your research on Josh Allen. Figure out if you think he's going to play or not and play accordingly. So if you think he's going to play, take Bills -3.5. You think he's not going to play, take the Vikings +3.5. And, hope that your research was good enough on his injury.
That's a pretty good way to take that as a middle there. You could go both ways, but also just make a decision and make it a 50-50 call. Also, want to throw out whatever the rushing props end up being for Saquon Barkley against Houston. I'll take the over. They're not big enough.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we don't even have to look at it.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if they come out with 109, I'll still play the over, but that would be insane. Mason, any other plays you want to call out?
Looking. I'm not really seeing anything.
I like the Titans -2 against Denver.
Yeah,
That was one that I thought was
thinking
interesting.
about too,
So, but anyways, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Hurry Up Offense. I want to say thank you again for everybody tuning in. I want to say thank you to Mason, JC for joining me. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Cool deal. Well, until next week, JT, Mason, my name's TJ, and we are signing off.